And the only way that I arrived here was by following my footsteps towards that mountaintop, even though I didn't know what it would look like when we got there. Let's talk about the rewards of persistence and perseverance. First of all, this is one of my greatest lessons in this past year. Today, as you're watching this, as you're listening to this, it's my birthday. I'm turning 33 years old. And in the past 6 weeks, I've moved my family 250 miles to a new home, living on 10 acres of beautiful land, living in a collaborative lifestyle with some of the people that I love and trust most in the world. And I'm reflecting on what it took to get here. Because I can remember exactly where I was a year ago. That's the thing about birthdays. It's a nice bookmark in the book of our lives to think about, where was I when I turned 32? I was living in a different place. My family and I were more distant, more secluded from real community, real family. Times were hard. I had a lot of doubts about myself. And I was moving towards something, but I wasn't experiencing the reward of it. At least not the reward that I imagined, that I wanted, that I desired. So I need to go back in time a little bit for this all to be relevant. Back to when I was 17 years old. And I encountered two of my greatest friends in the world, two of my brothers in life. We've had both of them here on the podcast before, Emiliano Acevedo and Phil Gomez. And I talk about these guys a lot because when we met when we were 17 years old, we had no idea what we were doing. Had no idea what it meant to be a man, what it meant to be an adult. We were just doing what we were supposed to do as boys, as young people, exploring and encountering the world. But there was one thing that stood out in that time, even way back then, over 15 years ago, was that we decided we wanted to live together. And when we had families, someday we would raise our families together. Have our children be brothers and sisters, cousins. Have our own nieces and nephews that we all looked after and took care of. And I'll be honest, back then when we first started talking about this, it was mostly because we wanted to be in close proximity to each other for the rest of our lives. All of the other layers of meaning and purpose behind that, what it means to be in community, what it means to live in collaboration in life, none of that was connected to what I envisioned back then. But this idea of perseverance, that vision stuck with myself, with Emiliano, with Phil for all of those years. And we've gone through several different iterations of failures and successes to arrive where we are today, living on 10 acres of beautiful land inside of the redwood forest of Santa Cruz. Watching my son run around with my little nephew, Emiliano's son, and all the other little children on this property starting to live together, and the families coming together, watching each other's children, taking turns, working together to get things done. It's a vision that was 15 years in the making. And the only way that I arrived here was by following my footsteps towards that mountaintop, even though I didn't know what it would look like when we got there. And believe me, along the way, I imagined it looking all different types of ways. There's probably been 50 or 60 different versions of what I thought it meant to live in community, to bring family together. And one of my greatest lessons over this past year has been let go of what I think it needs to look like and stay connected to the only thing that's true. Because vision is really simple. When vision becomes complicated, it's because we put a lot of details and a lot of our own ideas and egoic desires on top of the pure vision. There's not much that I can really see. There's not much I can really interpret from that vision far off in the distance. So all I can do is connect to the simple part of it, the simple component of what makes that true, of what makes that valid, what makes that real. And I know there's a lot of times in life where we go through our process and we come up with a vision and we start to try and make that vision happen and something doesn't go right or something unexpected comes up. But that doesn't move the mountaintop. The mountaintop doesn't change. Maybe I went a little off trail, but if I can check in with what I'm looking at over in the distance and I never lose track of that, then I'll always continue to move towards it. Which brings me to one of my next biggest reflections over the past year, and there's evidence of it all around me right now. If you look behind me, I've got this, I want to say ugly green wall, but we'll just say beautiful green wall, some unfinished sheetrock with these imperfect seams and unpolished finish that is representative of what it means to pursue a vision, regardless of what it looks like in the process. My intention before recording this video was to have this whole studio built out, finished with all the beautiful live edge wood tables and the windows all finished up and painted so that this was the Rising Man headquarters. And I got attached to that. I did everything I could to possibly make that happen, and still the deadline came for this video to need to be out. So I had to let go of that. I had to let go of what it was gonna look like when I released this video out to you guys. I had to let go of my ideas of what it meant to have a big birthday solar year reflection video going out on the MMM with this green wall in the background. But it's perfect, because it's a perfect representation of everything I've learned in this past year. That it's not always going to be polished. That it takes tenacity, consistency to make real, meaningful vision and purpose come to life. Because here I am doing it. If I strip away all the details of it, I'm speaking my truth. I'm giving my medicine and my message to you guys right now. And maybe you care about this unfinished piece of wall over here that's not painted, but maybe you don't. In fact, I would wager that most of you guys don't really care about what it looks like behind me. You're probably more interested in what I have to say. So I needed to learn that for myself, that I can get over what it looks like right now and not let what it looks like now get in the way of where I'm going. And I share all of this today because I believe that birthdays are one of the best bookmarks to leave in our life, because you always know when that happened. You always know the date, you know your birthday, and you can imagine where you were a year ago. So, some invitations. Number one, if it's your birthday, happy birthday. If you don't have a birthday for a while, then just take a moment and think about, where were you on your last birthday? Physically, location-wise, where were you on the last time you celebrated your day of birth? But then also, energetically, where were you? Were you in a dark spot? Were you high as a kite? Where were you? Energetically, emotionally, spiritually. What mattered to you? What was your focus and your attention on at that point in your life? And then using today as a checkpoint, or if you want to wait till your birthday, you do the same thing, just check in with, where am I now? How far have I come? What have I learned in 365 turns of the earth? What have I learned since I made my way around the sun one more time? And then looking at the other bookmarks of 2 birthdays ago, 3 birthdays ago, 5, 10, 20 birthdays ago. If I try to imagine where I was when I was 13 years old, holy moly, I've changed quite a bit. But in the past 15 birthdays, my direction, my arrow pointing towards true north, has never shifted. And that's the most powerful thing that I can connect to and share with you right now, is that that mountaintop doesn't move, regardless of the circumstances, the encounters, the failures and successes. That mountaintop is where you're moving towards no matter what. And if you don't see it clearly right now, then that's okay. But it's your mission to become more clear on what that vision is that you have. And if you are clear on that mission and you are encountering the inevitable doubts, frustrations, struggles, obstacles, good. Lean forward into it. Check back in with that mountaintop that you're pursuing. Because for me, this is just the first peak. Now that I'm standing on this peak and I've achieved this part of my mission and my dreams are coming true, I see that there's a bigger mountain off in the distance. And now I get to figure out and clarify what that is and keep moving towards that with unrelenting passion and desire, commitment. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for helping me celebrate my birthday with some of my own reflections. I hope that they were powerful for you. And if you're digging what you're seeing here on the Rising Man YouTube channel, if you're loving these Monday morning meditation episodes, then go ahead and subscribe, share it up with your community, and make sure you go to risingman.org to check out all the other opportunities there are to lean deeper into the Rising Man community. Because we got you, and we're waiting for you. Peace out.
Rise up and claim your destiny.